Hi, this is Mr. K's, and today we're going to be talking about humans trying to control nature. Last time we talked, we saw the idea that Africa seems to be a cradle civilization. It's a theory, and in the theory of evolution, man evolves into a more complex being from a simpler life form. Humans trying to control control nature, they're going to try to use technology to do it. The theory of evolution, man was a critter that was a nomad. They wandered from place to place in search of food. They shot hamburger on the hoof. They're shooting their groceries. They aren't planting crops yet because they need to know how to do that. They haven't acquired that yet, supposedly. Hunters and gatherers are nothing more than the folks I just talked about. Hunting small game, big game, collecting tubers, which are like potatoes, fruits, wild honey, etc., etc. So usually the men would hunt and the women would forage for food. And very much like the Cro-Magnons, who we talked about in chapter 1.1, who roamed around and they began to use tools in cooperation. The Neolithic Revolution. Think of it as a change when man stopped just hunting, but also supplemented his diet with food that he grew. So the Neolithic Revolution is also known as the first agricultural revolution. The planting of seeds, the domestication or taming of animals. As man settled down, he developed different farming techniques. One is slash and burn farming, where you take what is left over, whether it's brush or old stalks or whatever, you burn them to the ground, and that ash is going to be a rich fertilizer for the crops. But that only works for a couple years, and then you're going to get less and less and less yields, and you have to keep moving on because it kind of leaches out the soil. Use the word domestication. Domestic means of the home front. So you are learning how to tame animals that are wild or feral to use for meat, milk, clothing, and security, like guard dogs. Now, scientists have unearthed around the world different places where they have the earliest example. In Yaxmo, the J is silent. Say it with me, Yaxmo, Yaxmo. In the Zagros Mountains of Iraq, they've unearthed the earliest example of agriculture. As the birthplace of agriculture, they'd say. And I would say, well, that probably wouldn't be a bad place, because around southern Iraq would be the biblical Garden of Eden, traditionally. So in the area where there's a lot of rich soil, fresh water, fertile soil, warm weather, that would probably be a good bet where agriculture started. And then in Turkey, they've unearthed an example of settled village life, and that's Çatalhöyük. Çatalhöyük. I see that on the Regents every once in a while. Well, that was short and sweet, and it showed how man developed and tried to adapt to his environment using what he developed as far as learning goes. This is Mr. K's. See you down the road for 1.3.